Previously on Automotive Tales. Busy tonight, isn't it?
Car park, that car park, tons of space if you've got anyone else coming.
I did hear about, Haggerty UK Festival of the Unexceptional. 30th of July, Grimsthorpe Castle, for unexceptional pre-97 cars.
We could buy 2 cars.
Amazing. Derek, you in? Guess not. All right, so we're saying it's got to be pre-97, it's got to be a grand or less, and it's got to have no skin and win, no CD player, it's got to have a ticket, no scrapyard dodgers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep fit windows.
Amazing. Let's go.
Let's go. Well, game is afoot. I am hoping to be the first person to make a move. I have found a car in budget and it is decidedly unexceptional. As somebody walks past the car wondering what the hell I'm doing. So I am in the car. I'm going to go look at my unexceptional vehicle, and if it's good enough, we're going to buy it and get it home. It's well within budget, so it's at £795 advertised. We'll see if we can get it a little bit cheaper. That gives me some money in the budget for making some repairs and get it as neat as we can, ready for the festival and whatever challenges Martin intends to throw at us. So the seller doesn't want me to video, so you will catch me in a second when I've been and viewed the car, hopefully made a deal on it, and it has been delivered to the house. So here goes. Hello, and you join me in the car. It has been delivered. And what do you think it is? It looks very much like a Ford Fiesta, but you'd be wrong. Can you guess? It's got a Ford key. Looks like a Fiesta key. It looks a lot like a Fiesta, but it is not. It's that way up. It's a Mazda. So we've bought a Mazda 121 GXI, no less, of which there is a heady number left. There's 42 of these vehicles left, of which this is one of them. So it is actually quite a rare car, but I think it's a great definition of rare, but nobody cares. So while there are only 42 left, making it a rare car, it still remains unexceptional, because with exception to the badge on the key, or on this key, or this key, or this key, it is just a Ford Fiesta Mark IV, and a very early Mark IV as well. So it is definitely unexceptional. So what is it to tell you about, an unexceptional car? There's not an awful lot that's exceptional about this. It has about the bare minimum of options you could ever want. It has keep fit windows. So nice. Oh, go on. Oh, it's not going to go up. Hold on. Go on. Yeah. That could be interesting. So it has keep fit windows. It is a Spanish gearbox, a whole hefty 5-speed. The first time I drove the car, the first thing I came across was the little thing that tells me it's a 5-speed gearbox, which came off. So that's another thing we're going to have to fix. What else did it tell you? It has an radio with a tape player, very fancy. It is a standard Ford unit. It is a Traffic 3000, which needs a code. So that's going to be another job to fix, is to find a code, which I presume will be a very cheap or even a free fix these days, fingers crossed, because we've got to keep the budget in mind. And there's a few other things it needs for, which I'll talk you through in a minute. But the most important thing is, it has an MOT. As of the 31st of January this year, it has a fresh MOT. So we've got until early 2023, which is good. So it should be in fairly fine fettle. And the price, that's the important thing. So it was advertised at $795. I managed to get this for $675. So that's quite a healthy discount on the asking price. But the most important thing is that leaves me with £325 in budget for doing some repairs, doing some maintenance, and trying to get this thing looking shipshape, like getting rid of the bird from the window. So we took a quick break there because our neighbours are doing some building work and decided it was the right time to fire up the still saw after a whole morning of silence. Just as I was about 3 minutes into filming, deafening still sore, so that's good. But anyway, I'm back with my trusty Automotive Tales cup and a nice fresh brew, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about this car. So it is a February 97 car, so it's only just within the scope for Haggerty's Festival of the Unexceptional. It was £8,570 when it was new. So it's now worth, I think I paid about 8% of its original value. So that's a hell of a depreciation. And it's good because a little bit more than 8% of it still works. It has the 1.38 valve engine that's fairly ubiquitous in Fords of this era. It was fitted in some of the KAs. It was fitted in every Fiesta from, I think, the Mark 3, 4 and 5, possibly, or the 4.5. It has a whole 60 brake horsepower. So have to be a bit careful, keep this thing under control. You never know what can happen with that much power at your disposal. What else is there to tell you? Yeah, not a lot. That's about it. It's an car. So let's do some sort of walking around. I'll show you what I've found on the car so far. So, fun little thing I found. It's an era of radio where they had pop-out fronts. So look at that. The little number pad pops out. That's so completely pointless, especially when the radio isn't actually fitted. Amazing. How ridiculous is that? Put it in your handbag and break it. It's kind of neat though. You can see here as well, look, the clock is completely had it. I've already looked to see if I can get a replacement for these. People asking £40 for a clock. I mean, that's worth like 7-8% of the value of the whole car. That's slightly ridiculous. So that might not get fixed. I haven't found anywhere that does new LCD screens like it does on the 944, which is marginally annoying. I also discovered this switch, while it moves, doesn't do anything. I know the car's off right now, so of course it doesn't do anything, but with the car running, this doesn't work. So that might need replacing as well. I don't suspect that's going to be hard work, especially with the radio already partly out the dashboard, because just get in and pop it out. You can see it is full poverty spec. We have no rev counter, which is a cool little diagram of the car, but I'm not sure that represents a Fiesta. It looks a bit more kind of Sierra sized, but cool nevertheless. Here's your odometer, 63,102 miles. And it's showing empty. It is with ignition on, so I don't know whether the fuel gauge actually works. So that could be interesting. I have had up to temperature though. It does seem to sit at sort of like a third of the way across that dial, so that seems okay. And I love this. The Ford, the hazard switch, which is now broken. So how the hell do I turn it off? Which is in the worst place. If you pull over, you have to stop really quickly and you hit the hazard button and you get shunted from the rear, it could break your hands if the steering wheel hits a curb or the wheels hit the curb and it turns the wheel here. What? Just why? Anyways, well, at least the hazards work, even if the switch is a little broken. But here's a cool thing. Look, no Ford logo, the little Unos Mazda-y logo thing, which is quite cool. Otherwise, it's just a Fiesta, isn't it? Really. You can see I put the top of the gear knob back together. Great. Right, I'm going to drink some more tea and keep poking around at this and see what I can find. Nothing exciting. Somewhere to put my tea, though. Result. So, I have been online and I've found a code for the radio, which I've now managed to put in, which was a bit of a faff, because every time you push these buttons, it seems to affect the connection behind here, and it thinks you've popped the radio front out again and stops working. So after about 6 attempts of putting the code in, I have managed to finally, hopefully, get it to work. So here goes. Ignition on. Oh, that's not a good sign, is it? Let me start it. Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, let's see how it starts. So it was delivered last night. Look at that! On the button. Lovely sounding little thing. So that's why it's not coming on. Same problem with the buttons. But we're just going to shut that up. But we have radio. It does work. I can't play any music because, well, you know, digital rights, rubbish. But trust me, it works. I just need to go and find a tape or even a tape adapter for full 90s points. But woohoo! First fix made. We have a radio. Still haven't fixed this thing though. So, a fun little thing I've just noticed now, I've been trying the radio, which I've obviously had to turn off again. You have the speaker in the door here, which is a bit tinny. But, look at this. Fancy, fancy. It has tweeters. Like, we've got windy windows, and we've got manual mirrors, but it's still got tweeters. How very plush. I hope this doesn't make it a bit more exceptional. That's possibly minus points right there, but cool nevertheless. See, told you, not Fiesta, it's a Mazda. So all looks relatively clean in here. It looks like I've got a bit of a weep from the rocker cover gasket, but that's a dead easy thing to replace. It's a little cork gasket on these Endura E engines, which I think is just an evolution of, I think this is a CVH engine. But it's a multi-point injection, which is quite cool. But it still comes with, on the rocker cover here, all the settings for the gaps on both the intake and the exhaust valves, which is quite cool. Because of course you can get to them quite easily underneath here, and you can set that lash up, stop them being tappety, which they are renowned for. But yeah, it looks relatively clean. Coolant looks nice and fresh. We'll check the oil in a second. Obviously no cam belt to worry about. The belt down here, I'm not sure if you can see that. The belt is looking terrible, so we'll look to replace that auxiliary belt before we do any serious mileage in the car. That is a heck of a certain time belt, so that might be a bit of a pain to replace, but we'll see how that goes. Probably investigate what's going on here. I'm not sure I like brown parcel tape under the bonnet, but it might be a case of just putting a bit of heat shrink or a bit of black electrical tape in there. It has power steering. How awfully fancy. Hopefully that isn't minus points. And yeah, nothing really else to say in here. It all looks pretty clean. Strut top's pretty solid. All the scuttle looks good. You can see there where the rad matrix is, sorry, the heater matrix, and the little radiator sits behind the dashboard. But yeah, everything looks nice and rust-free. A little dirty, but we can soon fix that. Standard Halford's battery. Even the master cylinder doesn't look terrible. So all in all looks pretty good in here. So +1 for the little Mazda. So I've just spotted something that the keener-eyed of you might have spotted while we were looking around the engine bay. What I thought was an earth cable until I actually paid attention and noticed that the cable that goes to the fuse box hasn't got any sheathing on it. That's marginally terrifying. It looks like it's okay under here, except I can't open it. It's okay under here. All the sheathing is absolutely fine where it's inside this protective layer. But this is all just crumbled off. The last little bit that was there has crumbled straight out of my hands. So the very first job I'm going to do before anything else is get some electrical tape wrapped around that as a starter for 10 so it doesn't kill me. So I just have images of that touching something under the bonnet or wherever else and going bang. Because of course it's unfused from the battery, which is terrifying. And then I have to look to see whether I can actually get that out of the fuse box, which is buried under there somewhere, maybe put a whole new cable in. That's not a job I was expecting to have to do, but maybe from a safety perspective I might have to do that. But first things first, just a little bit of electrical tape, and then I might get away maybe with some heat shrink and some more electrical tape as a start of 10. But yeah, wow, that's scary. There we go. Temporary fix. I'm going to just tidy this up, but at least that is now protected from shorting or anything. Phew. And there goes the still saw again. So one of the things you will know, obviously the paint looks quite faded, fairly standard. I think it's actually Ford Radiant Red. The door hasn't faded though, oddly. But the big problem with this car, and the reason it was so cheap, is we've got pretty horrendous lacquer peel on the top here. So I need to figure out what we do about that. And also, this here has gone a little bit flexy. I don't quite know what's going on there. I'm not quite sure if that can be fixed with a bit of heat. So that's another thing to look into. But yeah, you can see there's basically no lacquer left on the top whatsoever. So it might actually polish up all right, but we're still going to be left with all these little scabs from the lacquer, which is really the biggest detractor on the car. That and the birds seem to like it on it. So let's have a look in the boot of the little Mazda. Yow. Go on. So turns out if you pushed a bit all the way up, it does stay up. How long before that kills me, I've no idea. So that looks pretty lethal to hit the back of your head. Maybe for peace of mind, we'll replace these. I'm sure they're hideously expensive for this little car. Otherwise, it looks pretty clean in here. It's obviously lived outside for a lot of its life, A, because of the faded and the lack appeal, but also you see, like here, the headlining has gone a bit funny and it's come away from the seals, so a little bit of fettling, hopefully, to tidy that up. You can see the plastic on here hasn't fared quite so well, held on with little bits of string, and on the other side, a little cable tie. But otherwise, it's all much of a muchness. It's an boot. There is a jack for a Fiesta, which this is not. It's a Mazda. It's not a Ford. Boot floor looks okay. A bit of sound deadening on the floor there. Otherwise, wait for the camera to catch up. Otherwise, all looks pretty alright. It's a bit grubby under there, give it a good clean, but much for muchness. Here's an interesting thing. Space for boot light. Space for boot light. No boot light. Not on this model. No, you need to pay extra for a boot light, apparently. Next time on Automotive Tales. So Martin is apparently on his way down with his unexceptional car. He refused to tell me what he's bought. So this is going to be the first time I get to see it and you get to see it.
We can have theory time sometime.
Right, where's the car?